Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a BANT Maverick League. This should be pretty fun. BANT has always been a color combination that I've really enjoyed, and I think that it's a pretty good choice for Maverick as well. Muzzleball, welcome. Dark Cloud, Alex West, Lurin, Ravenous Panda, very cool to see you all in chat. I hope you're all well. So do I think that this is the best Maverick list possible? No. I think that the Black Splash is really good right now. I think that cards like Kaya, cards like Plague Engineer, removal like Abrupt Decay is just kind of second to none. But it is really cool to show that Maverick does have a few different builds. If you don't own the cards for, say, Abzan Maverick, but you own the cards for BANT, there is an option for that. And it can be competitive, which is very cool. One of the biggest, I guess, draws to the deck is that you can play a turn 2 Oko, which is great, especially on the play, which is really nice. I meant to say on the draw, apologies. It means that you can still cast an Oko before your opponent on the draw, which is quite cool. Blue feels bad, man. Yeah, at least we're playing blue to beat blue. It's kind of like fighting fire with fire, I guess. But this list was pretty sweet. Hey, Dark Cloud, thanks for the gifted sub to Quillback. Welcome. Too kind, very nice. Quick shout out as well to Logan Boston 63, who actually subbed with Prime yesterday, so a huge thank you. So this is a list that I've been tinkering around with and really enjoyed. The one card that I'm not too sure of is Scrib Ranger. I do like that Scrib Ranger is a flyer. It allows us to do some pretty obnoxious things with our mana. It can save us from Wasteland, which is pretty cool. It can give us a flying blocker against Delver, which is great. The issue is that in the late game, you can't turn this into a 3/3 with Oko because of its protection from blue. So if it is your only creature as a threat, you can get in a position where it's just a little bit too slow, which is a little bit awkward. But other than that, I think the Scrib Range is still good enough. We're not playing Mother of Runes, which is obviously a pretty massive reason to play Scrib Ranger as well. Just the ability to pick it up and do some pretty cool things with getting, protection twice. But we still have Knight to untap, which is great. We still have these Hierarchs. We have a mana sink in Hex Drinker, so actually having the extra mana can really help as well. So I do like that. Uro, of course, a very powerful card that we've seen have an impact on multiple formats. In Maverick, I don't think it's really a threat that we need, but it's definitely a powerful creature that I'm happy to have as a one-off Green Sun Zenith target. I don't think I've played it a bit, and I don't think I've Green Sunned for it yet on stream, but it's really nice to get out of Sylvan Library or something. The extra life gain is really relevant, especially against a format filled with Delver. Being able to scrape back that 3 life and of course draw cards is really nice when you've traded some resources in the early game, and maybe you don't have anything in the bin for Ooze to eat. Delvers can be pretty tough, so having an Uro is pretty nice. We also have Karakas if you want to make some interesting plays with Uro and just getting some value off it that way. But I do like it as a one-of. I don't want to put it as a 2-of because I don't really want to see it in any matchups. It's just nice to be in the deck. So that's been cool. Skyclave Apparition has been really nice, especially as a turn 2 play. We got to do some things like I didn't have an answer for a turn 1 Mum, and I drew Skyclave, and I was able to cast it and take out the Mum, which is pretty great, especially in game 1. We don't have access to Plague Engineer, so I really have to rely on those, having the removal at the time of my opponent casting a Mother of Runes or something like a Goblin Lackey. So having Skyclave is really nice because it just gives me more outs to things, and especially with its flexibility. Now I have an out to Oko, I have an out to Dreadhorde Arcanist, I have an out to Back to Basics. There's a few different things, which is really nice. Apologies. The one thing that we don't have with Maverick is a way to actually make use of its ETB and kind of flicker it with Flicker Wisp or do some shenanigans that way. But as a 3-drop 2/2 that gets Exalted triggers, I'm pretty happy with it so far. I put one in the board as well. I believe the card I took out was... That's gonna get me. Actually, it should be on Cardboard Live. Cardboard Live actually has the old deck list. Let's do a quick look. I would have taken out the Felidar Retreat. Felidar Retreat just sadly was a little bit too slow. I either didn't have the lands to follow it up to be aggressive enough with it, or I never drew it as a one-of. So I do like having it, having an extra removal spell in a creature in Skyclave in the board. So why play BANT? I think the biggest reason to play BANT is Oko. It's going to create a sub game that your opponent has to deal with, while you can hopefully beat down on them, which is really nice. That's probably it. Uro is a nice advantage, and same with cards like Meddling Mage, but you know, we have Gaddock Teeg, we have Ethel Canonist. I don't think that Meddling Mage is a reason to play blue, unless you're, you know, playing in a local meta where you have, you know, 5 opponents on Doomsday or something. But, you know, very cool to play Meddling Mage. A little bit interesting these days, as a lot of decks have a lot of versatility to them. There's not sort of just one card that gets shut down. Maybe Doomsday is the closest one, but, you know, most show and tell decks have Sneak Attack. I guess the new blue-green show and tell decks or blue-green Omni are going to have a pretty hard time with this naming show and tell. But yeah, that's why I kind of like the extra prelate, especially against some of these combo decks. It's not too bad against Snow, but of course you got to look out for that Oko that's going to turn into a 3/3. I do not have a Discord, but I am part of the Maverick Discord, which I believe, if you want to check it out, it is linked on the Green Sun Zenith homepage, and a link will be put in the description right now. But that's it. Let's do a quick recap of what we played against last time, just so I know what I'm actually aware of. Because last time we played against Ant twice, Lands, Jeskai Control, and Death and Taxes. Death and Taxes was a little bit harder because they're not on Plague Engineers and Abrupt Decays. We have less outs to things like Turn 1 Mum. But, you know, Skyclave being able to take out Aether Vial as well is pretty huge, especially if we can stifle their mana as well as take them with the Vials. And Apparition also hitting equipment is pretty huge. Obviously not Batterskull, Skull, but being able to turn a Jide into a 2/2 creature, I'm more than happy with that. So let's get into a game and see how this goes. It should be pretty fun. Playing a Constructed, Legacy League, BANT Maverick, play points, nice. I hope you're all well. Obviously it's December, which is crazy. I don't think this year went slow for anyone. I think it went pretty quick. Ooh, that's good. Shout out to Hunt and Brew. They do a really good cold brew. It's really nice. This one's called Brazil Cerrado. Real good. Look at that. Negator 77 and Pokimoki, sorry. 33 and 30 trophies? Crazy. Yeah, Lurin, I strongly agree. I think that Apparition is a really powerful printing that isn't broken. And obviously in white is really nice. I think if anything is close to it, I would say it's Elvish Reclaimer. Really powerful, not too broken. This is a pretty interesting hand. I think I don't mind it. It's obviously got a... It's a little bit rough, because if all goes well and we cast turn 2 Thalia, I really need to hit my next 2 land drops to play the Oko as a 4-drop. But I think this is okay. I'm going to lead on the Verdant, just in case my opponent wants to wasteland me on turn 1. I've made a mistake. So one thing that we discussed in the last league is that these Verdant Catacombs should just be Misty Rainforest 3 and 4 because the Verdant Catacombs can't find Tundra, which is a little bit rough. Something I should have thought of straight after the event last time to check. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Yeah, the green-white Reclaimer deck looks really cool, Ravenous Panda. I played it last Sunday, I'm gonna say. It's on my YouTube channel. It's got a lot to it. I didn't realize the amount of interaction you have, especially with the turn 1 Reclaimer, and knowing when to hold up Reclaimer to start a loop of Flagstones of Trocare and other lands, or build out your board. And I think I was playing it a little bit too much like a Maverick player, where I was trying to build out my board, where I should have just been developing my mana and building it out with stacking Flagstones and getting the sort of 2-for-1s. Haha, hey Nathan, hope you're well. I went to BANT last week. Hey Gizlo, morning, hope you're well. This is actually an interesting one. The Noble kind of changes things up because I'm definitely playing the Savannah, but now I kind of just want to go with the Noble Hierarch. But it's an interesting choice. Noble means next turn if we don't draw mana I can play Oko or Thalia and Swords. My only issue is that if my opponent's on a combo deck, I do want to put down the Thalia here. Hey Ermby. So this is actually an interesting one. I think because my opponent didn't do anything turn 1, I do want to play this Thalia out. If it gets countered, we have a second one, which is nice. I just think that Thalia here at least means we won't lose the game if we're on against like a fast combo deck. I think we just get a Trop here. But a little bit tough. As nice as a Noble would be in case next turn I don't draw into what I need, being a land. But I think a Thalia here is fine. Okay. That makes me think they're looking for something. Maybe a Daze, maybe a Force. Well, that's pretty good. Pretty happy for that to resolve against a Brainstorm deck. Verdant and Pluto Delta, that's interesting. Another Noble. I guess we kind of get blown out by Plague Engineer, but I'm pretty happy just to go Noble attack with Thalia for 4. Really increase that clock. I like this song. Nathan, what have you been playing on stream? For those of you who are unaware, Nathan Lopetz is another Legacy streamer. Streams a lot, which is cool, and usually streams my time, so if you are a Legacy fan, definitely check out Nathan. Basic, interesting. Brainstorm, that's fine. I'm not too sure what we're playing against based on these lands. So it's obviously some sort of bug deck. You can definitely say it's not BUG Hogaak because of the Brainstorms. I don't believe it's going to be a Storm-based combo deck because of the basic Forest. There's the Plague. That's going to be pretty good, especially if we don't draw a land here. Oh, okay. At least we get to go Swords and Noble. And then hope we can recover. That's pretty huge. So that Plague Engineer was essentially a 4-for-1. This just really puts us behind. Decay. Interesting. This just looks like some sort of bug deck. Like a bug control deck. Really need to start drawing into lands. And at least next turn if we draw into a land, we can hopefully draw into another with the Oko. Yeah, I'm going to assume Snoko as well, just with a a slower start than usual. Another plague. Oh, that's rough. Not too much we can do here. At least I can try to find a little bit more out about my opponent's deck before this most likely goes down. The Sylvan Library is going to be really hard to come back from as well. I'd love to see if we can see a fourth color, because for now it does just look like a straight bug deck. just when you want that extra land. Opposition agent, okay. That's gonna be an interesting one. So opposition agent is a new card from Commander. It's a 3/2 with flash for 3. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play these cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were of mana of any color to cast them. Pretty crazy. So if I green suns for 2, they can find anything from dried up to a 2-drop, and then they can cast them themselves for really anything. Yeah. A little bit unfortunate with the 3-drops. Definitely a reason why I play so many 1-drop mana dorks in this deck, going up to 6 with the extra birds and Gilded Goose. This is going to be an interesting one. Oof can definitely come out. Ramanap seems fine. Cresting Beast seems great. I think I can probably drop down on some number of humans. The mana base is pretty good. I do like the Apparition. Bug's an interesting one. I'm not sure if I actually want the Jidays. BANT 3-drop Maverick. That's it. I don't mind these because it does make my creatures a little bit more of a threat. It also means that if we come into a situation where there's a bunch of 3/3 elks on the field, we can hopefully get above them with Jiday. I think just something like this. I think the ability to have a turn 1 play is just so huge, especially in a matchup like this, that I'm pretty happy to have the extra hierarchy, even if it does mean it's going to get hit down the line by a Plague Engineer. This seems okay. But yeah, tough start. Tough start to say the least. It's kind of nice though to see less Plague Engineer around. Obviously when it was spoiled it was kind of everywhere because people were trying it out, people were seeing how good it was. I'm going to keep this. A little bit rough because if we lose the mana dork, we're down to just kind of a turn 3 3-drop. But I don't mind this as a turn 2 Oko is pretty nice. Opponent might also have something like a Plague Engineer in hand and be less enticed to use a removal spell if they have one on Noble Hierarch. I'm just going to go with Oko and make a food. I could go after the Noble Hierarch, but I think I'm happy just to tick this up for now. It would be kind of nice because it does stifle them off blue, but see how this works out. Ooh, Wasteland's pretty nice, but gonna have to keep that for now. Play a Hierarch. Tick up on the food. Attack Oko. I think here it's still correct to play out the Ramanap just to have extra attackers. Because there's a world where I actually just trade a Noble Hierarch for their 3/3 food to make sure I can kill their Oko. Nothing. Interesting. There's Green Sun Zenith, but if they have Opposition Agent, it's just such a blowout. Hey, Timmy C. I kind of want to go for Questing Beast. Alright. If they have it, they have it. 2, 4, 6. Actually, I only need to go like this. I can hold up the Wasteland. No agent one time. Oof. Oh. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Agent is super strong against me. New card, what is it? So I Green Sun for 4. They cast Opposition Agent. Now they get to search for what I was going to get. They get to exile it, and they get to get it as well, which is pretty crazy. They also should see our hand. Interesting. Yeah, it does seem really cool. I'm not too sure how many ticks it is online, but I would definitely like to look into it. It's supposed to let you see your opponent's hand. Okay, interesting. Night of Autumn, that's interesting. What do I want to do here? I could steal and make them trade. I guess something like this isn't the worst. And now just attack. I was going to attack with both, but if they block both, like Noble Hierarch on food, food on Ramanap, I guess I don't really want to lose the Ramanap, so I'll just attack with the food. Interesting that they didn't get Questing Beast. I assume there's a reason for it. They've got Knight of Autumn, which is interesting because Knight of Autumn doesn't hit the food token, as it's no longer considered an artifact. I think it's the Ramanap here that I don't really care about, but I don't really care about the Oko either because I have a backup, so I'm probably happy just to let this happen. Yeah, maybe they were trying to click the other night. Knight of Autumn. Maybe they got the Knight just because they could make it a 4/3 and then make it a bigger creature with the Oko. Because it'd be a 3/3 with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Oh, Scribbrange is kind of cool. Doesn't do a whole lot here. Attack Oko, attack Oko. I am going to play Scrib here. See if I can draw into Swords to Plowshares. Knight. It's not too bad. Replay this. Float a green. Untap this. Return this. I already played a land for turn. That's okay. Play the Oko. And tick up. I don't want to play the Knight into an opposing Oko, but I think I'm okay playing an Oko here. Even if they tick up on the Hierarch and make it a 3/3 and swing with both, I'm not too unhappy. Yeah, if we had a Caracas, they could definitely think about not taking Questing Beast. Especially because it obviously returns to our hand. Mana pre-combat. Plague. Okay. Plague and Opposition Agent just so good here. I guess and Oko as well. It's a tough hill to fight up. That's fine. Now they're going to pass back. That's interesting. I'm going to draw a card first. Okay. Land first. Tick up on the food. Yeah, I don't think that Marilyn will see competitive play, but you never know. Another Ice Fang's really good. Hey Adam, hope you're well. Alright, I think it is just a knight, just to build up my board. Even if it's going to be a 3-3, it's going to be a 3-3. But at least if I can get to a stage where I can attack with a Jide, I'd be okay. Yeah, Jide not as good in the face of a an Oko, but this is what we're playing with right now. You can find the deck on the screen. You'll be able to see the cardboard live functionality. But yeah, BUG just a really hard matchup because their card value was just so good. This looks like a BUG Zenith deck. They can make this Scooz a 4/4, so I don't want to attack with both creatures. I'll just swing in with the Ramanap. Probably decay the... Oh, I'm gonna eat now, okay. Yeah, just in the sideboard, I didn't want to run the Stoneforge Mystics. I wanted to just max out on you know what I was gonna say, Sylvan Library to find them, which I think is okay. I'm gonna hit their Noble, which was mine. Create a food, and just pass back. I think another Plague Engineer is just going to be game, unfortunately. It's just tough when we're spending, you know, a removal spell on something like an Ice Fang Quietal when they're already drawing a card. The Plague Engineers have been really good and just, you know, dealing with multiple threats as well, so... Yeah, definitely brutal, but that's what you get for signing up a deck. You know what you're playing against, so... Yeah, I don't see a way out of this. I kind of have to block because I guess I can lose the Oko. The Oko's not doing a whole lot. The Jide's probably doing a little bit more. They didn't even kill the Oko, which is interesting. They could have eaten another creature. So they play a Gilded Goose instead. That's very interesting. I guess we can gain life. That's an interesting play. I think I like removing the Oko more than playing the Gilded Goose, but I'm not too sure my opponent's hand is. I mean, I can attack all at Oko. Not great blocks. And then the Ooze just takes over the game. Opponent has 3 cards in hand and I have none. I guess we can see where they attack. Yeah. Yeah, nothing I can do here. Unfortunate. Bug there showing how good it is against some of the fair strategies. I mean, having Oko, obviously opposition agent there was really good at pretty much time walking us. Because Questing Beast would have been pretty strong, taking out the Oko, especially with Exalted. But cool to see Bug come back in. I think that I played Bug Delver a bit in paper and really enjoyed it when I was getting into Legacy. So it would be cool to see Bug Delver come back, but I think with Dreadhorde Arcanist, it's just really hard to not play red. So playing like a Bug mid-range deck with Green Sun Zenith makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can't really... even if I draw a lot of land, I can't really complain. I'm playing a deck with no Brainstorm or Ponder, so you kind of got to take it on the chin. Unfortunately. And at least, like, you know, some of my lands were Horizon Canopy, which was nice. Especially with the Ramanap, but obviously with Oko it's a little bit rough. Up against Ravenous Panda. Okay. We'll keep this. The Dried Arbor is a little bit rough, but I think we'll just go for Windswept Heath and pass. Not too sure what Panda's on. Yeah, Brainstorm versus no Brainstorm is a huge advantage to the Brainstorm player if they know how to use it correctly. Sometimes there is an advantage when the Brainstorm player doesn't know how to use Brainstorm, but typically it's ooh, okay. I'll get a Savannah just to cast my stuff. I feel like this is going to be Cloudpost. So that's going to be rough, because I'm going to assume this is going to be naming Wasteland. Yeah, okay. We do have some outs to it, which is nice. Night of Autumn being one of them. And for that reason... Huh. I think I'm okay to just go Thalia here off the Wasteland. I don't think I want to go Dried Arbor and then next turn go Night of Autumn. This is an interesting one. I'm going to assume this is probably Cloudpost, but with the basic forest, it could also be something like Dark Depths. I think either way, it's probably better for me just to build up my mana. It's a tough one, but I really want to play this Night of Autumn next turn. It's going to be Cloudpost, okay. Okay, well at least here's a Swords target, which is nice. It also means that by the time I have Wasteland online, they can't actually go after the land I target with their own Reclaimer to make use of it. Now this is an interesting spot, and maybe it's wrong to play the Night of Autumn here on the Pity Needle, because then that gives them a turn to play another one or a Sorcerer's Spyglass naming Wasteland. Maybe I should actually just play out what I already have in hand, like Thalia and Bird, and then next turn I can play the Night and double Wasteland. So I think that's actually better. I think it's better to hide the fact that I have a Night of Autumn in hand. I don't even get hit out by Thought-Knot Seer because they can't, unless they have Ancient Tomb. I guess Ancient Tomb Thought Knot, if they're playing Thought Knot, is a reason to play the Knight of Autumn. But I'm kind of thinking they have another Cloudpost, so 3 mana in total. Thalia is nice as well because it gives us some ability to play around crop rotation with our Wastelands. So we'll see how my opponent taps down here. Interesting. So let's go with Knight first. Destroy this. Do you play Autumn Willow? I do not know what Autumn Willow is, Peter. It sounds cool, but unfortunately I don't play it. I'm going to play the other Wasteland and pass. I can attack, but they probably just use the maze. I'm going to Wasteland in their upkeep, because if they want to crop rotation, they can do it on their turn at least. Or I can make them do it on their turn. Okay. Another forest. Okay. Maybe it's correct to actually hold it and just see if they do anything on their turn to tap out, so I can play around crop, but I think this is fine. 2 mana. Ballista on 1, that's pretty good. It's gonna resolve. See what we draw into. Land. I will attack with these 3. Hey, Luca Boring, a huge thank you. 7 months with Prime is very cool, very much appreciated. Yeah, that blowout was pretty big, but I'm glad that I can do it to show people how it shouldn't happen. Interesting. Ooh, this is actually pretty interesting. They're gonna block. I am gonna trade if they trade. Maze that. Okay. Kill Thalia. Okay. Now this is an interesting one because I kind of want to go after their mana, but at the same time the maze is just going to buy them so much time that it seems incorrect to go after their mana. If I don't hit the maze, then I'm attacking for 2 a turn, which is pretty nuts, so I think this is just correct. Hopefully. Once is okay. And to be fair, if I was going to go after the maze, I should have thought about that before, but I didn't know that my opponent was going to trade their Walking Blister away. So now I'm really looking for Green Suns or Ramanap. Karakas isn't really what I'm after. Rex Sage is interesting. I guess it buys them some time. I guess we just play out the Skyclave because it can take out the Wreck and just keep us going. I feel like they're playing this because they don't have anything and they need to buy time, so I feel pretty strong here. They get to copy Cloudpost in end step as well. That's pretty scary. Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. Haha, Crackers means we don't get attacked by Emrakul, right? Haha. Something like that. Something like that. 5 mana. Prime time. Okay. That's pretty good. Maybe this comes back to the crop, and maybe I should have cropped a little bit sooner. Oh, sorry, I should have played around crop a little bit more. Been a little bit more patient. Okay. That's interesting. Attack for 1 in the air? Yikes. I would say Cloudpost in general is a pretty good matchup. Being a wasteland deck that you can tutor for it with another Reliquary, you have some big creatures to clock them pretty quickly. It's just some awkward draws or starts like this where you do have some pieces of disruption, but they line up pretty poorly, and you just don't get you know, the glimmer posts and the mazes just kind of stop you enough. Yeah, I guess Swords to Plowshares is a pretty good out. Oko is okay. Skyclave, of course, doesn't deal with prime time, but still pretty good. This is going to be an interesting one because I don't have too much out of the board. I do have Force and Meddling Mage, but they're kind of awkward. I don't think Prelate is something that I want. Skyclave is interesting because it hits things like Pithy Needle. Maybe the extra Skyclave. I wouldn't mind seeing that. This is a tough one because I've kind of got to the stage where I've let my opponent just do whatever they want. That I don't think that whatever I do now, even if I draw a Knight, doesn't really mean anything because I get to eye for Emrakul. Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting one. What don't I want against Cloudpost? Collector Oof is okay as it stops Walking Ballista, but that's about it. I don't believe they play map. They could play map. Maybe Oof's in the maybe spot. I do like all my 3-drops. I don't mind the Thalias on the play. I think Skoos can come out. I don't think Script Ranger is that good. I do like Force of Vigor. I do like Skyclave. Mage is an interesting one. I don't believe they play Candelabra, which is kind of cool because it means I could probably build it in paper, which is nice. But yeah, I haven't seen Candelabra. I've seen some decks play like 1 or 2, but not the full play set. I honestly just think that this matchup is a pretty good matchup, so I shouldn't be boarding too much, and I think just the 2 here is fine. Just to have more outs to the needle so I can try to be aggressive with Wasteland. Speaking of, but is it enough? I don't think I can rely on this just because of the Wastelands, because they do have so many outs to it, so... this isn't too bad. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. Turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 Thalia, and then I can just hold the Force for Hardcast. I think it's the second Noble that I drop. I want to make my land drops early on. Feline was a pretty good High Tide player. I know that there's like a clip of her just destroying people. I think turn 1 Glistener Elf did it on YouTube. It's pretty funny. It's about 2 minutes of her winning and just like turboed through her wins, which is pretty cool. Green Sun is interesting. I could just try to go for Hex Drinker early on. I don't mind this line of just trying to get an early threat. Reclaim is going to be okay. There's Cloudpost. Skyclave. That's actually pretty nice. Because now we can go... Yeah, so let's go attack first. We attack with a 3-2. We can then go Skyclave, take out the Needle, and then Wasteland the Cloudpost. That's pretty nice. I think my best draw is probably Cradle, because then we can just try to level up this Hex Drinker ASAP. But either way, it's looking pretty nice. Just gonna hold up the Reclaimer here. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I think this is really good. If I can snag this Reclaimer, I'm pretty happy. Means we can attack for 4 this turn as well, just keep pressuring. Probably just getting Cloudpost. Could get Glacial Chasm, but I think Cloudpost is just the correct play. Attack for 4, nice. Next turn we swing for 8, so this is a pretty fast clock, and Hex Drinker really helping out with this early aggression to try to not let our opponent get to a mid to late game where they can turn it around. That's pretty nice. I'm just going to take up Hex Drinker here. It would be nice to get to a position where I don't have to show the Force of Vigor in this game, because my opponent might not think about it. Tough spot. Being on the play was really nice, and then having, you know, Wasteland and also an early creature was really good. To the board, we didn't really see anything that changes things, so I think I'm happy just throwing this back and seeing how it goes. The Thalia is interesting. Maybe Thalia can come out and like Meddling Mage, just have a little play around. On the draw, Meddling Mage seems a little bit better. This is okay. Yeah, I'm happy for this. Having the Force is really nice with the Wasteland. It just means that Pithy Needle isn't as bad, and we also have Skyclave for Pithy Needle, so... Now this is a turn where I'm happy just to go Wasteland Pass. Hitting a Cloudpost is probably the best land that I can hit in their deck, so being able to play around crop rotation is really nice. We have the Mana Dork to get ahead next turn anyway. Ooh, Surgical and Wasteland. Okay, that's going to change things. didn't think about surgical. How does that change how I approach this matchup? I think it means the Skyclave is definitely trying to go after something like a Elvish Reclaimer. Surgical's interesting because if they really want to be aggressive there, they could see if we have only fetch lands and go after that. Oko's pretty nice. Okay, I'm gonna go for Trop into Noble Hierarch. No, I don't want to because of the Skyclave. I think it's just Savannah. It gives me the second white as well without having to use a Windswept Heath. And also doesn't give away that I'm playing I drew into the Oko. I think maybe the Trop might give my opponent some inclination into that I drew into a blue creature or blue spell. Who here in chat has seen Queen's Gambit? And I want to see what you give it out of 10. But no spoilers for those who haven't seen it. 8 out of 10? Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Now this is interesting. I can take the map down here, which is nice. Not yet, please no spoils. Yeah, I like that. It's a show. I'll give you that. Gears, my only question, and this isn't a spoiler, but did you think about Magic a lot of the time throughout the series? Because I definitely really wanted to. It made me want to buy a chessboard, or at least find the one downstairs, and then also have a look into it. It just made me think about Magic as well from a competitive standpoint. This is interesting. Thalia, okay. So let's attack for 3. And then I think it's just Oko time. Yeah, let's go for Windswept Heath because I can get Dried Arbor just to kind of get the clock going a little bit quicker. Alright. There is a spot where my opponent has land Walking Blister for 2, and maybe I should have got out Dried Arbor, but I think it's fine for now. Ramanap, that's pretty good. Get back Cloudpost, rough. I will go for Dryad. Goose. So we can attack first with the Skyclave because it's a 3/3 with Exalted. I can then hit the Ramanap. Oko. Do I need to? That's the question. Maybe I don't. Maybe I want to build out what I have already. So I can play Thalia. I can hold up Noble. I can hold up Force for free if I really want it. I don't mind this. Just to have a 3/3 block is pretty nice to keep this creature in check. Yeah, Gilded Goose, make a food and then make it a 3/3 is also quite good. I do like that line. I think especially because on this board, the Force of Vigor as a pitch spell doesn't look too great. I do want to try to hit 2 things, so... This probably works out because now we get to, if this name's Oko, we can just force it and then untap. Tabernacle, okay. Tabernacle's gonna be annoying. I do want to keep all my creatures. Ramanap, interesting. Land. What happens if I Oko the Skyclave? Do they still get? I don't think they do. Yeah, I don't think they do either. I think it's kind of nice. It also loses the Tabernacle thing as well. I don't have to pay for it anymore because this gives the ability to the creature of pay up in your upkeep, but now it is no longer a... Very, very weird, but very cool. I think now it's just a case of just attack and attack. Yeah, so if you Oko a creature after Tabernacle's already in play, you can pretty much scrub the Tabernacle ability off the creature, which is kind of cool. Once is pretty good for us because we're getting to a position where we can just attack with pretty much everything. This does look like mono green Cloudpost, Inari. In 2020, it is pretty good. It is, yeah. I've seen a lot of Cloudpost. I guess when I say a lot of Cloudpost, I've seen a lot more Cloudpost than I used to see. So people obviously enjoying it, trying it out. Pithy Needle does seem pretty good in a room full of Okos. And I guess Glimmer Post is pretty nice against Delver. Oh, they're gonna Surgical Skyclave. That's interesting. And go down to 7, which means they kind of have to block next turn. Interesting. Maybe they didn't just want to be dead to that. So we do want to keep these. Uro, interesting. I think it's a case of tick up on Thalia and swing with both creatures. I guess something like a Primetime into Glimmerpost would be brutal. So just one time. Because we can swing for 9 next turn. So... another forest. They have 1 card left. Oh, 1 card left and they look to pass. That's interesting. Alright, we're definitely keeping them all. Ah, I didn't have to pay? Rough, I didn't have to pay for the last one. Because Thalia lost the Tabernacle ability thanks to Oko. I guess they could... crop rotation for Glacial Chasm? But we can't really play around that. I'm just going to make 3 attackers. What is this? One green. Okay, so it is crop. Oh, wait, do they have Dark Depths? Ooh, that wouldn't do anything, actually. They can only block 1 creature. Oh. They sack the wrong forest? Glacial Chasm, okay. Yeah, Jorg. So Tabernacle gives the creature the ability of, at the beginning of your upkeep, destroy this creature or play 1. So Oko, as a layer above it, removes all abilities. So it removes the ability of that to the creature, which is kind of cool. I guess Green Suns for Questing Beast beats out Glacial Chasm, which would have been nice. Let's see what we can draw into. Night of Autumn. Okay. I guess there's no point attacking, so we'll create a food and just pass. Maybe the better play was to play Ramen up first and then get a land back and then play Uro. That's probably correct, because now this 2 mana is just kind of wasted. So opponent doesn't have another turn because in their upkeep, with the Glacial trigger on the stack, they can copy it with Thespian Stage. Ah, it's a Vesuvian on Thespian Stage. Okay. Well, that's going to be a little bit more difficult for my opponent. Even Willamog off the top doesn't stop us because we have 4 attackers with the Oko. So they could destroy 2, block 1, but then the last one gets in for lethal. Crop, okay. Maybe just the gain life land, Glimmer Post. Oh, it could also be I. Oh. Yep. Does Walking Ballista do it? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not sure if I saves them. If the opponent played a Tabernacle now, would they regain them? Yes, they would. Yeah, so the Tabernacle ability would go above it. And then if I wanted to, I could re-elk a creature to make it lose the ability again. Which is pretty funny. Yeah, so it's because... Oh, Emrakul? Oh... If they draw a land... Actually, that doesn't get them to game either. What's this gonna be? I think it's Prime Time is the big one. Because then they can get Glimmer Posts. Yeah, this is gonna be rough. Ay, ay, ay. Yep. Go up to 7, yeah. And then gain, yeah, I go to 12. And they're just going to use I again here. Okay. Huh. I guess my outs are going to be just building out my board, so I think it's correct just to draw a card here. Bird. So Meddling Mage isn't too bad. Okay. So I could Swords the Prime Time. Okay, so I Swords the Prime Time, they go to 18. I then make this a food token. I make the food token into a creature. Swing for 12. We can't steal the Prime Time because it has to be creature and opponent controls with power 3 or less. So I think the play is Swords the Prime Time, and then swing for 3, 6, 9, 12, which puts him down to 6. And then maybe I don't care about the Ulamog, because I can make it a 3/3. I can attack with everything and they have to block. So maybe I'll actually name Emrakul with the Meddling Mage. But then they also have I, so they can go and get something like Walking Ballista, so Meddling Mage is a little bit rough. I think I have to name Emrakul, because if they get another turn with the I, then they probably just win. Because they definitely have enough mana for I and also Ballista. I also don't mind... This is interesting, because I can also tick up on Prime Time, swing, and then name Emrakul with Meddling Mage. Card Ivugan. Okay. So we have 4 mana to play with. I guess we have 5 if we get the Canopy back with Ramanap. Yeah, so I think the play is... This is definitely a snip-worthy moment. Okay, so let's quickly go over our lines. Swords on prime time, they go up to 18. We make the food a 3/3. We swing for 12. We put them back to 6. They untap. They currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 mana, and then 2 free with the eye. So I think the best play is just going to be Ramanap. Get back a land. It doesn't really matter. I hope it doesn't matter. We're going to Elk the Prime Time. This leads to the same thing. It leads to them being on 6. And now it's a case of playing Meddling Mage, and I think naming Emrakul. They could... Yeah, because I believe this still works through Ulamog. Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. Alright. Well, they're going to start with a once. Okay, that's actually pretty big. Because maybe if they find a Cloudpost, if they find the last Cloudpost or a Vesuva, then these make 6. Interesting game, to say the least. Cloudpost. Wow, they pulled it. 2, 4, 6. Yeah. Is this enough for both? Need untap postcards both. Yeah. 6. 6 is 12, and they get 4 left over. Maybe just going for a 6/6 Walking Ballista. Okay. I don't think Ballista does it for them. Because we have the Knight of Autumn. I think this is just us, thankfully. Because Ballista could block something and then deal with 2 3/3s. But I think because we get the right of way with Knight of Autumn first, we get to look at what we want to do. It can shoot down things, but then we're still attacking with the food and at least 4, which is 7. tight. Ah, Ravenous. Good. Haha. Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, that was a tough game. That was a tough game. Especially finding the fourth Cloudpost off the Once Upon a Time was huge, because we had a few thoughts. We were like, do we want to swords the prime time and then swing for 9, which puts you to 6, or do we just want to make it a 3/3 in attack, which puts you to 6? And then the meddling mage was a really good draw, because then we could name Emrakul, which allowed you... I thought naming Emrakul was better than naming the Ulamog, because it means you don't get to untap again with the Eye of Ugin, which I think is just so good with the Walking Ballista, because then that's just lethal anyway, because you can swing for 15 and then hit us with the Ballista. Yeah, that's tough, but sweet game. Very cool game. Yeah, we were trying to figure out what you could get, and the Glimmer Post definitely helped. I didn't see the surgicals coming on the Wasteland. That was tough. Ulamog, Exile, Oko, Meddling Mage was game for them. That's an interesting one. So they were at 6, and we had these 2 out. Yeah, I think we would have gone wide. So exiling Oko, Meddling Mage would have left us with Dried Arbor, Thalia, Food, and Ramanap. But close for sure. Alright. This is a great hand. This is probably like the best BANT hand that I've had playing BANT. Turn 1 acceleration, and then open to turn 2 swords and Thalia, turn 2 Oko, or even turn 2 knight if we really need it. Trop Ponder. Trop Ponder's interesting. If I draw a land, I think I'll just go with Thalia. But if I don't draw a land, maybe I'll just slam the Oko. I think here I'm happy to slam the Oko. I don't want to get locked under my own Thalia. Definitely feels like Rug Delver. What did the Ponder do? The Ponder was not a shuffle. Okay. Brainstorm. Okay. Post of a hell of a drug. Yeah, Post seems sweet. Were you playing Candelabra in your Post deck, or is Candelabra kind of out of favor right now? Because if it is, that's great, because it seems like more of a budget deck to get into. Yeah, Oko here is just so big, especially when my opponent didn't have... Oh, okay. Hopefully my opponent doesn't just combo me here, because then Thalia, of course, is just better. Yeah. They're going to duress me first. Rough. Wow. Definitely a situation where Thalia was just going to be better. Doomsday? Interesting. It looks like Ant. I've definitely seen Ant come back in favor. Yeah. So wait, they have to ponder or brainstorm into a tutor? Oh, they have the tendrils. Okay. Yep. Yeah, being able to play primetime as well is really nice. Deafening Silence is great. Surgical is fine. Meddling Mage is good. Tormod's Crypt is interesting. Jide can come out. Prelate is fine. Swords can go out. Apparitions are interesting. Ramanap's too slow. Uro's too slow. I'm going to take out one Oko. I don't think I need the Skyclaves, and probably not even the second library. I think even one library is a little bit skeptical. Maybe one Skyclave. The nice thing about Skyclave is that sometimes when your opponent knows you're in a Thalia deck, they'll play out the LED or a Lotus Petal early on, so I don't mind that. Yeah, Force is interesting as well because it does hit... Yeah, I do like Force because it hits Wishclaw as well. Maybe this is fine. Come on, Deafening Silence. That's the big card. Even though it doesn't win games, it really gets you in a position where you can, so I'm going to keep this. Oh, they're playing a commander? I guess they can just play this for free, which is interesting. That's cool. Could be a Thoughtseize. Yeah. Probably taking the Green Suns. Green Suns for Collector Oof is pretty strong here. Could also take the Ooze because I'm pretty slow on mana here. Best draw is probably Thalia because it's disruption and a piece of clock. Savannah. I'm going to play the Verdant because then they don't know what this is. They could have thought we brought in Mindbreak traps. And I'm going to keep the Green Suns for Oof, so I'm going to wait one more turn. Oof. Well, that's pretty good. They took the Yoko, that's interesting. Alright. Just gonna go for, I guess, Trop. I just want to have two pieces of interaction in play. Makes me feel a little bit safer. Surely they don't have like Dark Ritual into Opposition Agent? Okay. This means they probably have Fatal Push, but that's okay. Yeah, Dark Rit into Opposition Agent. I was thinking it. I was thinking it. It's just going to be Knight. Because next turn I can go Questing Beast and Noble Hierarch, which is nice. What was the deck playing Opposition Agent? I assume it was just a... Ooh, this is actually pretty interesting. Oh, so close to beasting out, playing everything with Cradle. Yeah, it looks like a BUG Zenith deck. I'm going to say it's a mid-range BUG deck, and it probably had Green Sun Zenith. So we have 3 mana, 6 mana in total. I can't get them all out with Cradle, which is a little bit upsetting, but I think it's probably just... To be fair, I think here it's just going to be Thalia and Noble Hierarch and pass. And if they don't do anything on our turn, then we can Wasteland them in their upkeep. Yeah, so here I'm pretty happy to probably hit their Volk. I can also sack this next turn to play around Massacre, which is kind of cool. Interesting, they're going to play this out. That is more than fine. A land would be perfect. Oh, prelate, okay. That's pretty interesting. Let's go 1, 2, 3, prelate. I'm gonna name 1, and then I can sack Savannah, go and get Cradle, tap Cradle for Questing Beast, and attack for 6? That's pretty sweet. That's a sweet turn. Prelate on 2 is also pretty good, because it does turn off a lot of the removal. But it does mean they have to tap out for it, which is kind of nice. Yeah, thankfully just a little bit too fast. I think we just run this back. There's nothing here that I really want, especially on the draw, so... Hopefully just don't die turn 1. And hopefully have an interaction spell like Deafening Silence in our opening hand. Okay. I don't mind this because it's got a finisher, it's got some interaction, and we're going to hit all our mana, which is nice, so... I think this is a pretty nice hand. I think you can get stuck with a pretty bad 6, so... Huh. Let me cast this. What do you guys think I should name with these meddling mages? That's a big question. Oh, they missed their land drop. Wow. I feel like I want to name Dark Ritual. Gonna get Tundra and Savannah. We're definitely casting 1. Could be Fatal Push, but I don't really want to name Fatal Push. Let's have a quick look. Let's get up Ant. Yeah, Dark Ritual is probably the card that I'm most scared of. Tendrils. Yeah. They kept a 1-lander with a swamp, so I assume it's a Dark Ritual hand that just is so close to going off, but just isn't there, so... We can only hope. They didn't have Fatal Push either. Wow, that's pretty huge. That's a little bit awkward because it does mean that we can't cast Meddling Mage and Deafening Silence this turn with the mana in our hand. So let's attack first. And then just to change things up, just to make sure that we don't die to something like Massacre, I'm going to go with Deafening Silence and then Dried Up for turn. Wow, opponent having to discard here, which is pretty huge. They discard Ponder. I think it's a case of just trying to beat down as fast as possible now. So playing Questing Beast and Twinging for 6 seems pretty great. Especially seeing our opponent is behind on mana. They have to deal with Meddling Mage and Deafening Silence, and to some extent Tormod's Crypt. Pretty tough. Opponent can't even cast anything here, so... Gonna play the Canopy because we can cycle it. What's up, Teeth? Okay. I don't think I want to surgical anything just yet. But I am gonna play the other Meddling Mage. I'm not sure what on. Hey Damo, thanks for the sub. Oh, surgical to see hand and then Meddling Mage. That's a really nice play. I am going to take the Brainstorm. Yeah, I'll take the Brainstorm. So they have another Brainstorm in hand. There's Ritual. They have Chain of Vapor. And Empty. What did they keep? What did they bring in? Okay. Fatal Pushes. I guess Chain's the only card that I really care about in their hand. So I think it is just hitting Chain of Vapor here. This also stops Chain on Deafening Silence, so thankfully our opponent just got, well not thankfully, but our opponent obviously just got a little bit mana screwed, and looks like they won't draw into what they need, so thankfully Ant goes down to Maverick, which is nice. Wishy, a huge thank you for the 4-month tier 1 sub, and a huge congratulations on the new store. If anyone here is from the Queensland area, Brisbane, Gold Coast, definitely check out the new Gold Coast Good Games, which just got a new setup. Very cool. I know Jamie and Dama were very keen to get it all done. So yeah, hopefully I'll be down there in a few weeks to see how it goes. Check out the place. Have a few bevies. That'd be cool. Yeah, nice to get the win against Ant. Ant actually on a bit of a comeback. Seeing a bit more of it online. Players, of course, moving towards Tess and Doomsday as combo decks over the last couple of months, but Ant has been showing some promise in the leagues, at least. I think I played against it on BANT last time twice, so pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm not sure why Ant is singing Uptick either. It still loses to all the same hate. It's not as fast as the other decks. Maybe it's the hand disruption. That's the only thing that I can think of. The hand disruption is a little bit better. You of course are more open to graveyard hate as well. It could just be returning players who have the deck online. Yeah, it could be because of Downtick and Veil. And I assume Veil isn't as great against Test because a lot of it plays main deck or in 75 defense grid, which is a little bit hard to play around. Oko? Yeah, Wishy, you're a test player. I assume Oko is pretty tough when you're trying to set up maybe a turn after. Yeah, I'm pretty glad I won that match as well after winning, after not playing that turn 2 Thalia. But Oko just seems so good. But obviously in that matchup, it did not matter. This is an interesting hand. We can't Green Sun straight away, which is kind of rough because we have the Dried Apple in hand. The mana's a little bit awkward, so I am going to mulligan this and go down to a 6 because I think a 6 might just have a bit more of a plan. And this is actually pretty good. I'll keep this. And I'm going to bottom. I think it's the bird. I think it's the noble because I can play the bird and play around Plague Engineer a little bit. A Plague Engineer on bird I probably don't care about if they're going to trade with this. But one on human does turn off Thalia as well. Underground Sea. Oh, okay. This is going to be Hogaak. Double Vengevine. Okay, that's going to be pretty good. So let's just go for a Savannah into Birds of Paradise. And just hope our opponent doesn't have 2 1-mana creatures to cast next turn, because that would be pretty rough. I guess we do have a Skyclave to take out 1 Vengevine, which is nice. And then the Knight is getting close to being a 5/5 pretty early on, so... What do they flip? Bloodghast? Oof. Do they have another creature? It looks like they do. Oh, Cabal Therapy. That's pretty good as well. That's going to really hit our hand hard. They probably named Swords to Plowshares, I think, in the blind. They named Green Sun Zenith. Okay. Going straight for the domain. Yeah, the flashback here is just so good. There's a Hogaak as well. See, even drawing Ooze next turn, I'm going to be so far behind. I think you take the Knight because Knight's also went out to the Hogaak through Caracas. They named Skyclave. That's really interesting. Yeah. So I'm going to play this so the Knight's a 4/4. And I'll go and get a Trop. But opponent looking like a pretty nice one next time. You wear the hoodie every time you play poker now? Very cool. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I have heard good things about their comfort, so that's really promising. Alright. Seder hits Bloodghast. That's pretty good. Double Bloodghast triggers. Big yikes. Now they get back Hogaak as well. At least next turn I can make the Knight a 5/5 by sacking a land and also getting Caracas to turn off these Vengevines, so it's not looking too bad. It is looking pretty bad, but not the worst. Interesting they're attacking with the Bloodghast. I guess it's kind of free, let's be honest. They have the Misty around. But now I really need to draw something. Maybe even like a second Knight? Oko. That's not too bad. I get to Oko my bird to make it a 3/3. Still not looking great though, because I'll be taking a fair chunk of this. I can block Vengevine. I can block a 2/1. I can then sack a land, making knight a 5/5 to return the Hogaak to hand. Glacial. Haha. Hey Arkan, hope you're well. Legacy Council is a big Legacy streamer, so if anyone in chat doesn't know who he is, definitely go check him out. Very cool content. Okay, so we're blocking Vengevine, we're blocking Bloodgust. I think this is just lethal anyway, but we might as well see if we can play around this a little bit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're just dead. Just way too fast. But at least here we have the extra Skyclave is pretty good. The extra Path is really nice. The Tormod's Crypts are great. Thalia isn't really for this matchup. What else? Collector Oof is interesting. Collector Oof does deal with Altar to some extent, but it's kind of an awkward Green Sun Zenith target. Need to block both Vengevines? Yeah. That's the tough one. I think then it's even tough because I think my best draw is probably Skoos, and even then I probably just died at them going wide. I don't mind the Ramanap. I don't mind the Knight of Autumn because it is a soft out to the altars. I don't mind Oko. Yeah, they flipped an altar into the bin in game 1. It might just be something like a Sylvan Library because they are pretty aggressive. Sanctum Prelate's always interesting on 1, but a lot of my good stuff is 1, like Surgical Path and Swords. I think it might just be Collector Oof. Just doesn't do enough. Jide is also interesting to try to stay afloat. Maybe there's a world where Jide is better than something like Oko number 3 and perhaps Scrib Ranger. A fly is interesting. Pro Blue doesn't really have any effect. Might just be this. Okay. So this is really kind of all in on Green Suns for Ooze, but I don't mind it. Especially with 1 swords. The only issue is that I'm assuming my opponent's going to keep a hand with something like Assassin's Trophy, so putting all our resources into that 1 Ooze, or at least trying to, is probably going to come back on us pretty hard. Our opponent also blinded Green Suns on their last Cabal Therapy, so I assume they will probably start off with the same thing, depending on how we go. Like if we do a turn 1 Green Suns for Dried Up, they might not, but... Interesting hand to say the least. I think it is a mulligan. I just think that the only real payoff is going to be the Green Suns, and I think they're going to be pretty ready for it. So I want to have a hand with multiple ways of dealing with cards. This is pretty good. I'm going to keep this. It does have the Tormod's Crypt, which is nice. And I think it's going to be the Uro that I drop and just hope that a turn 2 Oko is good enough. There's a world where I don't play the Crypt either. And I am gonna do that. I am gonna pass the turn without playing the Crypt. Just to see if they actually commit to their graveyard early on. Because if I can hit something like 2 Vengevines off a Careful Study, then that's pretty huge. I don't have to worry about Thoughtseize because my opponent is probably just playing Cabal Therapy. So there's a bridge. That's probably good enough. If I draw a land here, I also have the option of Wasteland and Swords. This is an interesting one. I really don't mind Wasteland Swords Go. Yeah, I think it's a case of how do we not lose the mid game that we currently have a really good hand for. And I think it's probably building out the board to play a little bit around things like Cabal Therapy. So maybe it is correct just to go with Oko this turn with Tomwan's Crypt and then just hold the swords and Cradle. There's some thought to also hitting the Stitches Supplier so they can't Cabal Therapy or sack it somehow to get 3 more cards into the bin. But I think with the Crypt, I'm okay with them actually just having it for now. So let's create a food. I guess they could have a force, and I should have forced, yeah. I 6'd. That's a little bit tough. Yeah, the 6 was just a misplay. There's a Vengevine as well, so if they can hit another creature... I guess if they hit another Vengevine, that's pretty bad as well. Bloodgust. Gravecrawler, okay. So this is gonna be a tough one. I can make Dried Arbor a 3/3, which is interesting. I don't mind that and hold up the Swords to Plowshares. I also want to take them off blue because of Careful Study. It's a little bit too good of a draw engine. And now we can just hold with swords up. Alright, so we block here. And then before damage, Swords Vengevine. Yeah, Decay is definitely interesting as well. Gravecrawler. I think Skoos is probably like my only draw to get back into this game, or else I'm gonna go too wide. Knight's pretty good. I can't complain there, especially seeing it's gonna be a 4/4. The F6 was pretty big because it did cost me at least a 2/2 here, if not more down the line. The question is, do I want to allow them to kill the Stitcher? And I don't think I do. I could also not block here and not allow them to get a 2/2 and just take the damage onto the Oko. That's probably reasonable. Because if I block on the Gravecrawler, they just get another 2/2 zombie. And at least next turn I can do a play where I can sack the Dried Arbor to exile bridges. Yeah, sadly, I think Oko is definitely a great way here to get back into this game, or at least stay alive. Alright, so let's block like this. And then before damage, sack the Dried Arbor, which removes the bridge from below in their graveyard. And I'm just going to get a Horizon Canopy because then I can draw a card as well. To try to draw into something. Okay, another Knight's actually pretty good. I could have done it to play around Cabal Therapy in my end step, which is probably in their end step, which is probably correct. Yeah, PVD, that's very true. I kind of had a free block there with the Dried Arbor because it wasn't going to be destroying the 1/1 anyway. Definitely just creating a food. And then most likely just playing a Knight and holding up a white source with this Knight. I could also attack with the... I think attacking with this food is pretty free as well. Hey Jack, a huge thank you. 9 months is very cool. I definitely owe you at least a coffee and lunch next time you're up in Brisbane now that the borders are open. Hope you're doing okay down in Melbourne. Hey PV, good to see you in here. Big fan of your work. Yeah, we just pass here. Thankfully, our opponent's a little bit stifled on mana, so we've been able to recover from the crypt incident, I will say. You got Legacy this Sunday? Very cool. What are you going to be playing? I assume Rug Delver, but you never know. D&T is looking pretty nice right now. BANT Miracles is on the up and up. 3 decks that I know you're a big fan of. Rug for sure. Okay. That's fair. I tried. My opponent's in a pretty interesting position as well, where they're getting close to just having to block. The question is, do I really care about this sword right now? I think if anything, I'm just going to build out my Knights. I'm just going to get the Tundra out of the deck. Verdant. So because of the clock that this represents, I probably don't care about Hogaak or Vengevine. So I think just taking them off the resource of Stitcher Supplier here is fine with the swords before attacking. So they can't block with it, and then we can just start probably getting in enough damage for 2. Because they can't block with these creatures, so thankfully Oko there just really put us ahead. Yeah, Wasteland's also a really nice grab there because they're only on the 1 land. I think this is fine. The second library is something that I could take out for another card, but I'm not too sure what. Mage is interesting. I don't think this is a matchup where I want the mages, but obviously a pretty interesting card. Mage doesn't really shut down part of their deck. They have a lot of different ways to keep the engine going. It's obviously quite nice in a deck where you're bringing in Surgical Extraction, but yeah, I guess Ult is pretty, like, Alter or Hogaak is pretty good because we are a little bit weak to the Alter kill unless we have something like Surgicals. Maybe Oko is better than Library. Yeah, Oko really showed us there how good it was. Could be Ramanap just being a bit too slow. We don't have anything like BUG Hogaak to replay, unfortunately. But the 2/3 body is actually something that I do take into consideration when playing against this deck, because there's a lot of 2-power creatures just to buy some of the early game. Prelate on 2 is also pretty good. I mean, it only stops our Jidays, which aren't, you know, that relevant. And I guess Green Suns for 2. Yeah, maybe Prelate is better than something like Ramanap. I think Uro is pretty nice, especially just... I mean, Uro is great because it exiles bridges, which is pretty awesome. Maybe it's the Jidays on the draw. Yeah, maybe it's a case of just bringing back Oof and playing like this. Jiday is definitely interesting because you can also, you know, kill your own stuff to exile bridges if it really comes to that. But I'm not sure how much Jiday has an effect on the wider game. It might just be this. Yeah. On the draw, I definitely want something like Surgical or Torment in my hand. This would be an okay hand on the play, but I think on the draw it's just a little bit too slow. I probably want to have like maybe a Swords to Plowshares for a turn 1 Stitcher Supplier. Or just more impactful cards. No removal's pretty tough. This is one of those hands that can just lose to the early beatdowns of just a bunch of 2/1s and maybe some Ventvines, which I guess is pretty good against most hands unless you have something like Swords to Plowshares around. I'm gonna mull. I want to mull to something like a Tormund's Crypto Surgical just to have a little bit of insurance. This is good. This is really good. Skyclave's really nice as well. It's a great way to get rid of Stitches. Knight's really nice. So I think here it's just going to be a keep and a bottom of the bird. I think that Noble's just a little bit better than the bird because it can attack for 1. Have I seen Kaldheim Spoliers? I have not seen them, unfortunately. Oh, interesting. Okay. I could take out bridges here, which is actually really nice because this hand is a little bit weak to them. I'm also going to fetch here because I want to play the knight hopefully as a 4/4. Could have gotten Trop as well. Yeah, I think making them play a little bit into the bridge trigger is pretty nice because if they sack a creature and flashback, say, a Cabal Therapy, I assume we can respond to the Cabal Therapy or the Bridge from Below trigger by exiling bridge, and then once it resolves, they actually get nothing because the bridge isn't there. Is that correct? I feel like that's correct. Yeah, because when it resolves, bridge is not in the graveyard, and so then it's not there. Yeah, cool. Okay. So now we can Surgical Bridge. We get to look at their hand as well, which is nice. Abrupt Decay, Satyr Wayfinder, 2 lands. So we'll take out this bridge, take out this bridge. Look at their deck. So they have 2 more decays. They have an altar, which I don't really care about with the bridges gone. And that's really it. Cool, okay. I think in the past I have been a little bit loose with my surgicals when bridge is in consideration, so it's really good to know. Cool, okay. Decay, Satyr Wayfinder, land. What do they name? It could be Green Suns. They went with Green Suns last time. Another hit. Interesting. Hey, Rexage, thanks for the follow. Hope you're well. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. This is just Hex Drinker Tick Up. I'm going to tick it up both times because it means that I only have to put one into it next turn to see if they decay or not. I think that's better than attacking for one there. So we know about Verdant, Satyr, and Abrupt Decay. So they kind of have to just hold up Abrupt Decay here, which is great for us. I think honestly here I'll just play out a Skyclave. My opponent also knows that I have Skyclave in hand, so I don't want them to get both with a Cabal. Start getting a clock going. Hopefully draw into something like a Knight, a Green Suns, and Oko just to make sure we can kind of clean up this mid game, because I'm not going to win with just these Skyclaves. I think that's fair to say. There's a Hogaak, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, Hogaak's going to be really good here. Always lucky. Always lucky. Is there a case of taking out a creature here? There probably is. I believe we know of a Verdant Catacombs in hand and 2 unknowns. Yeah, I think it's worth keeping it. I think that something like a Vengevine is what I really want to keep it for. Yeah, I guess the Satyr Wayfinder is the only hit, so that makes perfect sense. Bloodghast, okay. Interesting, now they're going down on beats. I think now I have to on the Bloodghast, just to not lose the race. Bloodghast, okay. And Abrupt Decay, that's interesting. Oh, there's Altar. That's gonna be fine. I guess that can fill out another Hogaak, which would be pretty rough. You're from Brazil? Brazil's got a really good Eternal scene. I find that when I'm streaming, there's a lot of Brazilian players in here. And obviously a lot of Brazilian players that love Maverick, which is very cool to see. Oko. Oko's pretty nice. It means we can hit the Altar, but I don't really want to trade a 3/3 for it. Huh. What is Oko's role here? Yeah, I definitely want to elk the Altar. I think it's just Elk Alter Pass. I could also attack for 3 and then alter. That's actually I guess then they just get to sack their creature. But that's probably okay. It's kind of a free attack. I guess if they're going to sack a creature, they're going to sack it anyway. They probably sack the Bloodghast, to be fair. They do have 0 cards in hand, but Stitch the Supplier, Hedron Crab. Okay, that's pretty good for us. One draw. Land's pretty good. Yeah, I think Elky Noble is correct as well. I already have 4 mana to do pretty much anything I want. And the Noble as a 3/3 is going to be pretty nice against this altar just to keep it off. It looks like my opponent's trying to get me down to below lethal. Meddling Mage is pretty interesting. I think it's just going to be naming Hogaak. I probably could have attacked in for 3 first, to be fair, to get the Exalted trigger, but that's fine. I don't mind just attacking for 2 here anyway. Just gonna trade here. Bloodcast. Surgical, that's pretty interesting. I think I make this a 3/3 so that when it leaves it doesn't give them the Bloodcast. And there's nothing great here to hit. They've already hit 2 decays, so I'm pretty happy just to keep the surgical for now. I guess I could hit the Gravecrawler. I don't believe they get anything back because last time they didn't. I'm gonna wait for their draw step and then surgical out the Gravecrawlers. They drew Hedron Crab. So they have 1 decay left. Hey, just that. I like the username. I always have to look at it a few times before I say it. Attacking with both. Yeah, I guess it's free. Block like this. Go to 5. A little bit scary, I will say, but I think we're going to be doing okay here. Noble. Okay, that's pretty nice. That is just another creature that we can make a 3/3. Just this and that. Interesting that they played the land first. We'll see what they hit. I guess they get the 1 Bloodghast back, okay. Yeah, that's a real question. I'll give you that. They're attacking with everything, okay. 2-2 on 1-1. 2-2 on 1-1. 3-3 on 2-1. 3-3 on 2-1. We take 2. Oh, Scoos is huge. Scoos is really nice. I'm just going to eat these Bloodghasts now in case they draw into a fetch land. And then tick up on the Skyclave. We're doing pretty good. We're currently 2-1. Went down to a bug-looking BUG Zenith. Got up against Ant and got up against Mono Green Cloudpost. Scoo's really nice because also gaining the life is pretty good, especially when they're trying to go wide here. Yeah, thankfully. Nice. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I believe, Jack, they don't get the token because we did it before where we took out a expedition map and then we OCO'd the Skyclave Apparition and then we had to block with it and they didn't get a 1/1 creature. So it may be a MTGO issue. That might be the difference. Yeah, okay. PV in with the judge call. It's a delayed trigger created by it when it exiled the card. Interesting. Okay. How dare you attack an expedition map? Expedition map, I apologize. I do. I didn't know you were in chat, actually, so I will sack 2 and say, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, we would. Bit of a yikes hand. The Cradle makes it a little bit awkward. Otherwise, it would be kind of nice if we had just maybe a fetch land, but I'm going to mulligan this. We can just get stuck on this 1 Savannah, so... this is actually pretty good. I'm going to keep this. This is actually an interesting one because for combo we have Thalia, for creature decks we have the swords. We have Hexdrinker as a turn 1 play, which is pretty nice. We have Scribranger to make sure we hit our 3rd land drop. And we also have Knight. I think it's just Scribranger. I think the play is just Hexdrinker turn 1, turn 2 Thalia, or maybe even swords. Yeah, I think it is just going to be... It could actually be Knight. That's an interesting one. I think it is going to be Knight. I think playing low to the ground in this hand is really nice. And, you know, Knight we have a full playset of to draw into and Green Sun Zenith later on, so... Hexdrinker is a card that I never was really fond of, but in our last league, it just tore up. The amount of times I was able to play it and tick it up to 4 straight away, and then even up to 8 was just pretty crazy. There's a few turns where my opponent just didn't have an answer for it and just lost to it. Let's go for a drop, because at least that can be returned with the Scribranger. And just play Thalia. Yeah, it's really nice as well, because Maverick doesn't usually have a cheap creature you can really go for to start locking down the game, outside of something like Elvish Reclaimer. But Hexring is just so much quicker because you can level it up, and also Exalted is just really nice with it. I probably don't care about Ice Fang because we have the swords. And they can't force back. This is fine. And then I'm just going to respond to the draw trigger because I can with swords. I do like that Astrolabe here costs 2. Which is pretty bad when we're attacking for at least 4 here. Noble. I can't play around another Ice Fang, but I can get in for at least 2 with Thalia. I think here it's a case of Scrib Ranger and then cast the Noble Hierarch, hopefully. Untap this, return this. Play this. Play Noble. I probably should have done this pre-main phase because it gets me 1 extra attack in, which is pretty tough. Yeah, I should definitely have attacked first with, or at least done this Scrib Ranger Noble Hierarch plan before Thalia. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. Yeah, I guess Hex Trinket is quite nice because we get to have 1 copy, but you know, 5 copies with Green Suns if we really need it. Yeah, Dead of Winter's hard, but it's also tough because they have so much good 1-for-1 removal that I have to kind of go wide to play around anything. 5 mana. What if we go 1, 2, 3? Untap this, return this. I kind of like... Green Suns for Ooze here and see if we can eat this up. Eat this Uro. They're gonna force. Okay, that's not too bad. Snow doesn't play Show and Tell. Yikes. Six permanents, how neat. Yeah, pretty tough. The blue-green Omni is pretty tough to beat, especially on Maverick. A little bit too fair, but we do have Meddling Mage, which is kind of nice. Meddling Mage a little bit harder for blue-green to deal with, opposed to red, where they have things like maybe Pyroclasm or Kozilek's Return or a Braid. Oh, they get to keep one of these? We'll give you the Grizzlebrand. We definitely died at Emrakul, so there's a world where they play Grizzle and then don't draw into what they need. Interesting. One, two... kind of have to hit the Grizzle, let's be honest. Veil is pretty good Did they have 2 mana up? I only thought they had 1 mana up. Maybe they played a land after. My bad. Yeah, it is Stream Beats. Made by Harris Heller. You can find it on... oh, they have Omni? Of course. Okay, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Cool. Yeah, I completely forgot about the Omniscience. But yeah, Stream Beats is on Spotify. It's on YouTube. You can download it from the... from the Discord as well, which is cool. Yeah, 4 and 2 is interesting. I have this in paper, and I think I play close to this, but definitely 1 off. Boarding's going to be interesting. I do like mages. I don't mind Deafening Silence. I don't mind the prelate. Deafening Silence probably worse on the draw, but on the play I don't mind it because it does slow down at least the Cunning Wish game, which can be enough. I don't mind taking out a Wasteland. I'll take out some number of swords. I don't think Skyclave is great. Ramanap is obviously not that great. Collector Oof and Scavenging Ooze I think can definitely come out. Yeah, sadly Skyclave here just doesn't really hit anything off the shows. Doesn't even get Sneak Attack, which is pretty rough. Unfortunately. I don't mind the Force of Vigors. I don't mind the Surgicals, especially if they're playing the Intuition deck. We're definitely taking out this. So maybe just the Swords? I think the rest is fine. Scoop Range is kind of nice. It's just a flyer that obviously gets through Ice Fang. Uru is a little bit slow, but I don't think there's a better card here. It might just be a second sword, just to make sure I have some sort of removal to get through maybe my knights if I'm trying to attack early on and they have Ice Fang Quaddles, because otherwise I don't have much. This hand is interesting. There's no threat, which is really tough. It's kind of a play some stuff but not really start attacking line. I do have to draw into a creature pretty early on. Can Tormod's Crypt take out Emrakul from the graveyard with the trigger on the stack? Yes, it can. It's a great way to beat Tinfins if they're trying to... I guess they will probably just Goryo's Vengeance in response, but... This hand is interesting. We have some interaction in Deafening Silence and Force of Vigor, and I guess Swords to Plowshares to make sure that we have an early creature attacking through an Ice Fang Quaddle, but otherwise it's pretty lackluster. I mean, I'd much rather see like a Thalia because it's disruption and pressure. The issue is that this hand is a speed bump for me not losing the game and not so much me winning the game, and I'd rather have a hand where I'm, you know, trying to win the game and be proactive, and I don't think that this hand is really that, so I am going to mulligan. This is better because I can Green Suns for Dryad Arbor on turn 1, which is nice. So I'm going to keep this and bottom the Dryad. And I think because we have Knight of Autumn already in hand, I am going to Green Suns here for Dryad Arbor. I could keep it for Hex Drinker, but I think because my turn 2 play is Thalia, I'm happy to do this. Hey HC Fox, welcome. Hope you're well. Ponder, okay. But yeah, Jack, sorry, what's this new set you're talking about? Yeah, I think you could say the same thing for Batterskull, thankfully, in some decks where you can put back the Batterskull. I'm going to preemptively fetch here to play the Thalia so I can try to attack in for 1 with the Dried Arbor as well. Nice. Another Thalia is interesting. I don't mind just green suns for Hex Drinker here. I could also get a Noble because it increases the clock. It kind of sucks because against an Ice Fang, against mana that's open and represents Ice Fang, I don't think I'm going to be attacking with the Hex Drinker for some time. So I am just going to get a Noble Hierarch and attack for 3. They might even just chump to buy some time. No, okay. Interesting. Legendary creature. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 cat creature token. That's pretty sweet. It does buy them some time. Let's attack first with Thalia. This is cool tech, especially in a deck that I assume runs Sylvan Library somewhere in the 75. I could keep the Goose for the Force of Vigor, but I kind of like playing the Goose out just to start getting some food tokens and maybe going wide with those. It's a Norse theme set. Very cool. Another Ice Fang to get a 2/2. It's pretty good. Buys them a lot of time, which is pretty rough. They could fetch Brainstorm. Which would give them another 2/2 to block with. No, okay, that's interesting. Hey, thanks, Romanus Panda. I'm actually out, so... Yikes. I'm gonna hold up the food for end step because we also want to hold up the Force of Vigor through Thalia. That's probably a good enough hit, to be fair. I guess next turn I can make it. They have 5 cards. So it's really a case of, do I want to tap out here for Force of Vigor? Or do I want to play the Night of Autumn? And the upside of Night of Autumn is that I get to hit Omniscience off Show and Tell before they can cast Emrakul or Grizzlebrand. But with the Force of Vigor, I can't. I think it's Night as well. It's a pretty good force target because you're going to draw the cards anyway off the Sylvan Library, so it's not really card disadvantage. They are at 7, which is interesting. I didn't realize it was so low. Yeah, you get pretty close with those channel points sometimes. Oh, at the beginning of your draw step. Okay, I can do this in upkeep, which is nice. So I was going to make sure that I am... how do I add a stop? It is. Set stop. Oh, now I want to turn it on, right? Cool, okay. There's no great attacks here, so I'm just going to pass back. And then in upkeep... hit this. Pitching this. Okay, that's pretty good. One second. Oof. I don't think it's worth putting anything in, so... Yikes. Yeah. Rough. Can't do too much there. So we went 3-2, which wasn't too bad. Against the bug deck in round 1, we definitely missed things like Abrupt Decay and Plague Engineer. And against Show and Tell, you kind of just have to accept fate against that deck, unfortunately, playing Maverick. But I think we had some pretty good sideboard options. Just had to try to have an answer for that 1-2 that made the 2-2s, which was a bit too good. But in general, really enjoying playing BANT, which is nice. I do have some chests, so I might even see if we can open a few. So it would be cool to get some... Eldamri's cool. Playable card, which is nice. Vivian, champion. I did play it a little bit in Maverick. It was kind of nice to be able to play cards at instant speed, but she was a little bit lackluster compared to the other cards that you can be playing, which is pretty tough. I don't think there's anything good in these little boosters. Scrap Trawler, unfortunately banned in the format where it's played. Bloodbraid Elf, nice. Hey, Jerry Freeman, a huge thank you for the 6-month sub. That is very nice. Beautiful man, right back at you. I hope you're enjoying your morning coffee. 3-2, 3-2 are always interesting. I'm not too sure what you can get in these little boosters. Stormcaller, that's a miss. Zahid, okay. Are you sure there's things in here that are good? Liliana's Triumph, okay, that's playable at least. Oh, you can get jumpstart cards in these? Incinerary Float, interesting. This is mine. One piece of the puzzle. Doomblade, a little bit left in the gutter, but... And Snap. Choice of Damnations, interesting. I'll open up 4 more. Okay, these are pretty poor chests, especially looking at the play points as well. Just 5. 25. Okay, last one. Back from the brink. I think if I was going to play this again, I would probably try to adapt this into a Stoneforge build with maybe 2 Stoneforge and 2 equipment. And possibly move some of the silver bullets to the sideboard. Things like Ramanap are getting less and less relevant in game 1 against some of these snow decks. And even against something like Death and Taxes isn't the greatest. It can allow you to get back in the game from an early Wasteland, but I think a Stoneforge Mystic build could be pretty cool and probably wouldn't need the Ramanap. You could probably also go down on some of 3 drops and therefore Mana Dorks as well, which would be cool. But it would take a little bit more tuning, I guess. I think Stoneforge is fine. I've always enjoyed it against the Fair League, so I think it's a case of just trying to actually play it and see how it goes instead of. I'm not a big fan of just saying like, okay, the meta's, because the meta's a little bit different for me as well when I play. I find that the decks that I usually play against when I stream is a lot different to what most people play that are streaming in America, maybe during the day. So it's yeah, it's interesting. You obviously got to have a reason for playing Stoneforge, and I think there is a little bit of an uptick in some of the fair decks, so it's not the worst, but an Aussie meta, it's an Aussie meta. But that is me. I'm going to call it there. A huge thank you to you guys for coming in. A huge thank you to the resubs, the follows. My name is Dukes on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter here. You can find me on YouTube, where I have all my streams and also my recorded videos. You can find me at the Green Sun Zenith as well, which I do have content coming out for. It's just been a pretty busy period, so I haven't had the time to write, but I do have something in the works, which is really cool. You guys are great. It's always a pleasure streaming, especially for the Legacy community. I'm gonna see who else is playing. Oh, it looks like Legacy Council's actually playing, which is nice. So I'm gonna raid him, seeing he came in before. I will be back on Sunday, probably with a Punishing Maverick build. I haven't seen too much Punishing Maverick around recently, but I think there is room for it in the meta, especially with cards like Clothis, which are really good against some of the like snow and mid-range decks, and then of course having access to. That's definitely not it. That's definitely not it. I think it would have been this one. There was a really cool build that wasn't playing Punishing Fire and was just playing 4 Lightning Bolts, because of course Bolt is really good against Arcanist and also just, you know, the 3/3s of the meta. And having Blast Effects is really nice as well. So I think I will tune something around this and bring it back, because I think that Punishing Fire is pretty cool. There was a list in a Discord league that went 4-1, which I might just try to copy and see how that goes. But yeah, I think that this should be pretty fun. But I will send you guys over to Legacy Council. A huge thank you once again. Enjoy your weeks ahead. Stay safe. Yeah, just be well, and I'll see you hopefully on Sunday. Cheers.